Apologies for that once again, guys. I think it's third time lucky this time. We've got our elves in the background here trying to sort out the audio issues some of you hear in there, but hopefully it will have gone away now.
Yeah, apparently there's a bit of an echo on there, so, I mean, more people should like more Jack and Dave content, really, I suppose.
It's a stream within a stream, I think, by the sounds of it. And
getting more for your money, but hopefully that's sorted now. But as we were covering there, the Bluegrass question, thanks a lot for that. Just to repeat the answer there regarding the white stripe on the wagon, that was to denote where the wagons were to be unloaded, the actual end flap there as well. So great question to get started with. If you've got any more, get them down in the chat and we'll be answering them throughout the show with a Q&A session as well. But let's get back on track.
Let's get into it.
We've got a really busy week there, so we will stay a little bit longer at the end to make sure we've covered everything for you as well. And we've really got to dive in at the deep end, haven't we?
I think we've got to. As you can see, we've got the brand new Hornby 2020 catalogue here, which was announced just on Monday this week. And you were lucky enough to be down there at the source to see all of the new stuff live, weren't you? And there's so much in this catalogue. We could be here all day, really, couldn't we?
We could indeed. And there's a lot of videos on our channel highlighting pretty much every new release as well, so do take a look at those. But we thought we'd bring you some of the real highlights to the range here as well. And where can you start but almost the start of railway history with Stephenson's rocket?
We've got to start there, haven't we? Now, this is something that was in Hornby's range quite some time ago. You might remember, way back in the 60s, this was something that Hornby came out with in 00 gauge and really was quite an incredible model at the time. And they've brought it back in what is their centenary year this year. It's the 100th anniversary, so it is quite a special model for Hornby to have brought back to the range once again. And this is completely retooled from the ground up, isn't it, Dave? So we've got a fully new model here. It's actually closer to 00 gauge than the original model was because of better construction techniques now. And as you can see, there's two different variations that will be coming through. So you've got your standard edition there with some lovely yellow packaging. And there's also almost like a retro pack with some old school triangle packaging there as well, which comes with a certificate and some different alternate coach names too.
And as you touched on there, this is a wholly new tool model, not only for the locomotive, but for the coaches as well there, replicating the locomotive that ran at the 1829 Rainhill trials, which isn't too far from our offices actually.
Yeah, so pretty close.
Real close bit of modern and old-fashioned railway history there as well. But at the same time, it's a full 21st century model. Now, we have had unprecedented demand on this as well. So currently we aren't accepting further orders, but you can click the link in the description and sign up for more information should we be able to obtain more stock. The standard prices is $162, but if you want the Triumph commemorative pack commemorating that 1960s model, that's $189.99.
And for you lucky guys that already got your pre-orders in, this is coming through in just February.
Yes.
So it's pretty incredible that it's already been announced this week and we'll be getting it next month. So we're really excited to see this one come through and to see this going into people's collections because it's such an important piece of British railway history. And it's something that it's been missing from the range for quite some time. We do have some early images of the production sample here as well to show you.
This was something we got a closer look at on Monday when the range was announced. And you can really see here the level of detail there as well. The locomotive's been fully retooled. It also includes a digital decoder socket in there as well and a 5-pole motor. You can see the iconic yellow, white and black livery as well, carried in the 1829 Rainhill trials. So it really is looking like something that has a place in pretty much any model railway collection if you're a fan of railway history or if you're a fan of one of the most famous steam locomotives in the world.
That's it. I mean, there really is a place for this in any collection. It's such an important piece of history, as you say, and it's amazing to see this back in model form once again with such a beautifully newly tooled model that's really close to the accurate scale as well.
It really is. But that's not the only thing we've seen from Hornby this year, is it? There's been a huge range of new toolings, and if anything, we've got to look, I'd say, about 3 or 4 more.
I think so, yeah.
What else took your eye, Jack?
Well, we've obviously talked about some of the earliest locomotives in passenger railways in the world, practically there. But let's go a bit more up to date. We've got a newly tooled version of the Class 91, which was quite a surprise here coming through from Hornby. We've got the first EP, as you can see on the screen there, which is looking really nice. This is coming in 4 different variations, so it's covering quite a bit of history of the class. You've got Intercity livery, as you're out shopping. You've got GNER from the early 2000s. You've got VTEC from a couple of years ago, and then you've got bang up to date with the LNER colour scheme. Now, these really did did revitalise the East Coast Main Line, the Class 91s, with the Intercity 225 set, which had Mark IV coaches on them. And these came in around the late 80s towards the early 90s and provided new motive power for the services for between London and Edinburgh and all places in between there. And of course, even up to Inverness. But it's shaping up to be an incredible model list, and it's great to see this one coming back into the range. Got a completely retooled model here again, haven't we? Brand new from the ground up, and you've got full digital capability in there, lots of detail, posable pantograph, lovely livery application. It's really shaping up fantastic, isn't it?
And it's a great time in the Class 91 history as well, with them just coming out of service with LNER now after 30 years working on the East Coast Main Line between King's Cross and Edinburgh. But also, it's really turning into something quite different as they're heading potentially abroad or working with freight operators there as well. And some of the liveries we see here, the For the Fallen commemorative First World War version we see there, the GNER version from the late 90s and early 2000s there too. So whatever era you want to run one of these Class 91s, there's an era and a model for you.
There absolutely is. And it's great to see this one coming back into the range. It's another one of Hornby's classic models there that's come back with a completely retooled model. So it's really exciting to see this one coming through. But where should we go next, Dave?
Oh, I think we've got to look at the coaches that are set to go with the Stanier Coronation locomotives. Now, this has been a bit of a big gap actually in the range, and they have brought through railroad models in the past few years, but the demand has been there for a fully detailed model. And here they come, essentially. These are the development of the period 3 coach in stock, specifically designed to work on the Coronation Scot service, introduced on the London, Midland and Scottish Railway in the 1930s. And there's no less than 9 options of vehicles here to make it so you can complete a full rake on your layout. All are being delivered in the really eye-catching Coronation Scot blue, which caught from the Caledonian livery from the pre-grouping era there as well, and perfect to go with the already released streamlined Coronation locomotives, which are available to order now.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we've already had those beautiful Coronation locomotives come through in the relevant livery for these coaches. So they finally got something nice and detailed and modern to pull with them. And this is a completely new model here, isn't it? So
it
we've
is
got
indeed.
Super highly detailed body shells. We're going to have some nice interiors in there too. NEM couplings, of course, and accurate toolings for all the different coach types, because there's a few different types coming through here as well to make a fully accurate train, isn't there?
There's 9 different options of vehicle, including your first class vehicles, your standard class vehicles, but also a variety of kitchen cars, restaurant cars as well, as this was the prestigious LMS service in the 1930s. So a whole new coaches built. They were developed from the standard period 3 vehicles, which were already in service for a couple of years, and Hornby's model replicates history there as well, as the period 3s have been in Hornby's catalogue for a couple of years now as an absolutely gorgeous high quality model. And this is a development of those coming through to include those different types, but they'll also include NEM couplings, the fully accurate toolings for each vehicle as well. So it's the first time ever that these Coronation coaches have been made available accurately, ready to run.
I think it's great. It's about time we had something like this in the range as well. Now, as you'll be able to see from those photos, we're at quite an early stage of the announcement for this one, but we have been advised by Hornby that these will be available from October 2020, which is, I mean, it's a great thing from a lot of the items in the catalogue this year, is that there isn't that long to wait for a lot of these. We're looking at a lot coming through towards the summer and the autumn time, and then a few more just into early 2021 as well. So there is quite a lot to come this year. Just like with last year's catalogue, there was a lot that came out within the same year, so it is really nice to see so many different items coming through so quickly.
And of course, covering the whole range of the catalogue as well. Every single item from the Hornby 2020 range has an expected release date on our website, and that information will be updated should it change as soon as we hear from Hornby. So if you want to know the latest dates about any of the Hornby 2020 announcements, make sure you sign up to a notification, and once we know, you will too.
Brilliant. So we've talked a bit about LNER, then we've jumped back to LMS. Should we go back to LNER again? We've got another big one here, haven't we?
Not the same LNER, is it?
We've gone back to the past here.
Ah, okay, right. And this has got to be the hush-hush, hasn't it?
It's got to be the hush-hush. We couldn't not mention this, could we? This is something that people have been clamouring for many years. As you can see on the screen right now, we've got some of the first samples there. And as you can see, they're producing both the original and the rebuilt versions of the W1 hush-hush here. So you'll be able to model that, whether you prefer that very early experimental high intensity boiler version, or the more traditional rebuilt example, as you can see there.
And this really is one of the major gaps of LNER locomotives filled in double O gauge, with the real locomotive entering service in 1929 with its unique shape, mainly because of the high pressure boiler that it carried there, but it was rebuilt into the standard A4 style with a P2 boiler and ran in service until the late 1950s, right through into the BR green livery that we see there. And it was actually the highest tractive effort of any locomotive to run on the LNER as well in that period. So it was an absolute powerhouse of a machine, and a lot of people are quite unfamiliar with this locomotive, certainly in the later style that they see it with the A4 style body shell. But the real thing to look out for here is the wheel arrangement. You may be used to your Gresley Pacifics, your Flying Scotsman, your A3s, your A4s, but have a closer look. This one's a 464 rather than a 462, and it's the only one of its type ever made.
I was going to say, am I right in saying that is the only locomotive that's ever ran with that configuration?
In the UK, yes. Yeah. But a lot of our viewers in America and various other countries will be more familiar with 464 locomotives. But 464 tender engines, that's the only one.
That's incredible. Now that's something that makes this totally unique. So it's something for your layout, it's going to add a bit of a wow factor, really, isn't it? And these did see quite a bit of operation too. There was only the one built, but it plied its trade for a little while in its high intensity boiler state. It was found to be a little bit too difficult to work with, and obviously being only one, it was a bit difficult to run it as part of just one of a class. So the decision was taken to rebuild it, but it did survive right up until BR days, which is quite incredible, really. And Hornby are replicating this with the model as well, so there'll be quite a few different variations available. These are coming in at £180 each, and there's 5 different ones. So you'll be able to get 2 in LNER Battleship Grey in its original condition, the Apple Green in original condition, and then there'll also be the Garter Blue and BR Green colour schemes there as well.
And they're both on the rebuilt condition, those. And it's quite an interesting one, and a novel departure for Hornby, that the Apple Green was never actually carried by the locomotive in real life.
That's interesting.
But it was carried in a lot of the LNER's promotional material at the time. So the Apple Green variation does match a lot of locomotives and A3 and A4 Pacifics, and it is a strictly limited edition as well. So if you fancy something that does blend in with your collection but is a little bit different, the Apple Green one is the one to go for. But take a look at that link in the description, as there's information on all 5 available.
It's a nice what if, that Apple Green, really, isn't it? Because I imagine if the W1 had been a bit more successful and they had produced more, that's what it would have ended up in, really. Initially anyway. So I think it's really nice that Hornby have chosen to cater for that as well.
And it is an essential part of LNER history. Without the W1 we may not have had the A4s, for example. So it is something to bear in mind, that it does have a bit of an unusual look, but it's certainly got its place in any LNER collection. And
it's that traditional British experimental spirit in there, isn't it, really? There's been so many wacky and wonderful locomotives across the years. You could even say Rocket is one of those, because it was one of the early passenger hauling locomotives that we ever had in this country. But of course, you've got that Hush Hush in there as well. We really do have a fascinating history here in the UK, which we're very, very grateful to have, really. And it's great to see more of these weird and wonderful locomotives coming through into model form as well. So now we're going to head on to a bit of a different one, something a bit unexpected, really, this announcement, wasn't it?
Yeah, this really was a surprise, and we'd seen a couple of hints that we were to expect something unusual, outside the box, and we did have a couple of thoughts and a couple of ideas, but we could not have expected this, and it's one of the most exciting ranges to be brought through by Hornby in several years, and this is their Steampunk range under the Bassett Loke brand, bringing that back to the surface for those of you who are familiar with it. And this is a complete set. You've got locomotives, buildings, track, wagons in there as well. It's the full picture.
It really is. There's a massive range of items here to produce your own steampunk world. And as you touched on there, it's bringing back the classic Bassett Loke name, which this is a big thing for Hornby this year with the Centenary Ranges, bringing back a lot of Hornby's history from the 1920s right up to the present day. So a lot of these classic brand names you'll see coming back in there. So you'll see Triang back again. You'll see a lot of the other sort of brand names that Hornby used to have coming back through here, Double O as well. And of course, Bassett Loke, as we see here. Now, this steampunk range, it's totally unique. I've never seen anything like this before in model railways as a ready-to-run collection. But there's such a wide variety of items available. You've got locomotives available. You've got two steam locos, and a diesel, all 040s, from just £37. There's wagons and coaches which start from about £9 and then going up to about 20 quid there. And there's also a range of buildings, accessories, and even figurines as well. And they've all got a little story to tell, haven't they?
They have indeed. And for those of you who aren't quite so familiar with the steampunk terminology as well, it's essentially Victorian, Edwardian era, but with a lot of the technology we see today there as well, really impacting the designs, but in the same style of the Victorian Edwardian era as well. So
I think they call it retro-futuristic, don't they?
That's a good term for it. A lot of the glitz, a lot of the glamour of that time period, but with some really modern-looking designs in there as well. And it's a great clash, but a lot of it really works together as well. And Hornby have actually said that it's based, of course, being in Britain, around a tea-making magnate as well, which wants goods shipped as fast as possible, all over the country, all over the steampunk world as well. So really bringing in those fast and powerful looking locomotive designs, and it's a really great way into model railways if you're not quite as interested in the history side of model railways but really want to get an imaginative layout on the go. There's some really great low cost prices to get in there too. The locos start from £37, the wagons and the coaches from around £10 up to about £17 there as well, and it's got a real opportunity for, even if you've got a layout on the go already, this can just be a complete left field idea almost of you've got the whole blank canvas of wherever you want, and anything's possible in the steampunk world.
That's it. The beauty of steampunk, it's such a particular aesthetic. Of course, we've got the guidebook here, which has got all the information about it. And what I love about this is, of course, it couldn't be a steampunk world if there wasn't some really fascinating lore to go along with it. And as you touched on, the whole story with this world, with the Bassett Loke world, is about this tea magnate who wanted his products to be shipped as quickly as possible. And we've got a few different wacky characters in here, such as Rosie Rivet, we've got Lady Trophinia Lovelace, and these are all company owners who wanted to be part of this race to get that tea across the world as fast as possible. So they've all got their unique locomotives, and you've got your coaching stock here, such as the Thermopile Impulsion Tea Coach. You've got your Difference Engine Factory Coach. It's really got that steampunk aesthetic in here, nailed really. And there's even, I think there is some other wacky implementations in here as well. You've got, I think there's alien attacks with Martians, and you've also got some dinosaurs in here as well. So you can really craft your own story here and get some lore going on your layout.
And of course, everything in the brochure that Jack has there is available to view on our website right now by clicking that link in the description. It's an absolutely fascinating new area for railway modelling. There's some real opportunity to completely broaden your imagination and get into some weird and wonderful but ultimately fantastic ideas as well. Everything from the new steampunk range is available to pre-order now. It's all due into stock in April 2020, so take a look and really get that imagination going.
This is something I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to be able to come up with this range. And I think it's a great opportunity for people who might not already be railway modelers to get into this hobby as well, because it's catering to that steampunk market and to people who are interested in something a little bit alternative there. So really excited to see where people go with this. We're going to jump down to the comments really quickly because I can see there's
had a few.
lots and lots of comments here from you guys, so it's really great to see you all taking part in the chat. Thank you very much as always. We've got James Hardy says, what do you think of the new Hornby range? Well, you can probably see from our excitement how excited we are about all these new announcements, and of course we've only been able to pick out a few of the top items today because there is just so much in this catalogue. As you touched on, 1,500 was it items in here?
Over 1,500 we've been told are in this very volume here, and of course every single one of those is available to order or pre-order from our website right now. I mean, as well,
you can see how chunky that is really, can't you? So there's so much to cover, but as Dave says, that's all on our website right now, and you can pre-order that catalogue too, so you can get a bit more of an idea. And of course we have produced some videos on our YouTube channel about some of the other new releases too.
If you do want your own catalogue, they will be in stock on Monday as well.
Brilliant. We've got Charles Curtis says, judging by the number of pre-orders he's placed, he must be very pleased with the 2020 range. Ben Davis says he's pre-ordered his Rockets.
Fantastic.
So you were very lucky to get that one. Good timing on there. He's also hoping to get Smokey Joe, the BR Black Centenary Year Limited Edition. So that's one we have done a video on our YouTube channel if you want to take a look at that. Smokey Joe is coming back to the range, that classic 80s item, which has been a staple of Hornby's range really, but in a special edition packaging there. We've got Jamie Smith says APTP for him is a must. He's also getting the DRS Mark II coaches, Network Rail Mark IIs, RTC coaches. James Hardy also says when is the Hornby Princess Royal coming out, and the large Prairie, which were from the 2019 catalogue?
Yes, they're still coming through. The Princess Royal is due at the end of February, and the Prairie is due in February as well.
Brilliant. We've got 700 Shunter says, so happy about the new LSWR locos and wagons for the 2020 range. Jamie Smith says, surprised there was no Mark IV coaches. Maybe that's something we'll see in the future to go with the 91. Lakota Therauf says, bring on the hush hush. Taze, do you guys know the constituent part of the APT sets? So the APT, that's another one of the fantastic models that's coming through from Hornby. Really high interest in that one coming through. There's a couple of different train packs, isn't there? So there's I believe it's a 7 and a 9 car pack coming through.
There is indeed, and there's some great opportunities to model the APT either in a short testing rake or in the full rake that it should have entered service in the 1980s as well. If you want some further information there, do get in touch with our customer experience team and we'll be able to give you a hand on ordering the right vehicles for you.
But you can create a fully accurate prototypical train there. They've provided every different type that you need for the ABTP, which is really good. We've got AD Pullen says both of the rockets are now sold out. Yeah, unfortunately, they sold out very quickly, those ones. There was quite a lot of popularity for those, but maybe in the future there might be another one of those, hopefully. So do keep your eye out for that and add it to your wish list on our website as well, and we'll notify you for if they ever come back into stock. Medway Peninsula Model Railway says pre-ordered the brochures, he's seen it in the shops, and asking when we'll be getting ours, so they'll be coming in on Monday, won't they?
We'll be receiving ours on Monday and getting them straight out in the post to you then.
We've got Taze has also ordered a limited edition rocket. Ben Davis asks, will the rocket come with crew figures?
Yes, both rocket packs, both the Triang pack and the standard release pack, do come with pre-painted crew in there as well.
I think they really had to there, didn't we? Because it's so open, you've got to have something there. James Hardy says, oh, we want more Euro 1 locomotives, so he must be excited for the rocket. Graham MCK says, has Hornby updated the Class 43 ScotRail New Era, as the real one I think is still in the blue First Great Western with writing on it with 7 cities and is named Aberdeen St 150th anniversary?
Yes, Hornby are bringing through a new pack of 2 power cars, the Class 43 HST in the ScotRail 7 cities, latest delivery as well. That is bang up to date, and check out our website because we do have more information on that, and you can place a pre-order on there as well. But that is the absolute latest 7 cities livery as well.
Brilliant. There's a few other HSTs coming through as well. I believe there's a Network Rail one coming through. You got a twin pack with GWR and BR Blue Grey in there, and another Intercity model as well. So quite a lot of choice for guys who are looking for HSTs. 700 Shunter says, could you fit a DCC chip to the rocket?
We can indeed. We are offering a digital fitting service. If you'd like to update your pre-order with that, you can get in touch with our customer experience team and amend it. The rocket does have an 8-pin digital socket in it, but we can't quite fit sound in it, but you can fit a normal digital decoder.
I'd like to see someone try fit sound in it. We've got Ian B says the rocket would look good with some Georgian passengers and luggage on the carriage roofs. Do it. I want to see that happen.
Some great opportunities there.
Jamie Smith says, are the names of the coaches on the rocket different or the same? Now, it's different between the 2 packs, isn't it?
It is indeed. Now, one of the packs, I believe it's the Triang pack, has Times, Experience and Dispatch. And the second has Globe, Renown and Wellington as well. So the difference between the packs is the 2 different coach names. Check out the descriptions on the products on our website for the full confirmation there as well.
Top memory there as well, Dave. Jamie Smith says, will the Class 91 have LED lighting? I believe
we haven't had that confirmed. I would expect so, with it being a brand new release on there too. But as soon as we get more and more into the development of the 91, we'll be featuring it here on Platform 1. We'll be covering the updates as well on our social media channels and our website. So as soon as we know more on that, you'll be hearing it first on Platform 1 and on hattons.co.uk.
Brilliant. We've got Great Western 93 says 91 looks great. Charles Curtis has gave in to the temptation and ordered a complete set of the Coronation Scot coaches. James Hardy thinks Hornby have listened to what people want. Ian B says, can you say what the visual difference is between the rebuilt Hush Hush and an A4 are? So obviously you've got that different wheel configuration in there, haven't you, with the 464? Yes. But there are subtle differences on the body shell, aren't there, as well?
There is indeed. It's quite a longer locomotive than a standard A4 as well, to accommodate the 464 rather than 462 wheel arrangement. The boiler is longer too, with it being a boiler from a P2 locomotive rather than a standard A4. You can see some of the pictures here again now, just to get a second look at both the original condition Hush Hush and the rebuilt rebuilt locomotive as well.
You can see there it is, how much longer that is than an A4 as well. So if you wanted to compare that with a photo of an A4, you'd be able to see just it is a bit longer.
The shape of the A4 front and the Hush Hush rebuilt front as well is pretty much the same, so it is quite easy to get confused there. But have a look at the cab as well. That's one of the real defining points on that locomotive, where the cab on the rebuilt Hush Hush is really quite longer, and that's one of the places to make sure you look first.
We're getting down to the end of these now, Neely. I think we've got Charles Curtis says, will both versions of the Hush Hush use the same chassis?
We believe so, yes. There may be some very minor differences to accommodate the streamlining on the later version, but they should use the same base chassis, which has a 5-pole motor, 8-pin digital capacity, all-wheel pickup. The usual we expect from a Hornby loco, really, that we get through. So it will have all the bells and whistles, all the trimmings on there, and it should be the same chassis, but maybe with a couple of minor differences to accommodate the body shells.
We'll wait and see with further updates on that one, I think. Southway 1943 says, wasn't number 10,000 Hush Hush nicknamed the Flying Sausage? I hope it was.
That's one I've heard, and it's quite an interesting story, actually, as it did have 2 names but never carried them. It was originally going to be called British Enterprise and was never named, but the nameplates were made. And then in BR days, when it had that streamlined front like the A4, it was going to be named Pegasus.
Oh,
but
right,
again,
okay.
The plates were made, but never put on it. So real opportunity there to recreate a little bit of history that was almost going to happen by naming your Hush Hush.
I prefer the Flying Sausage, to be honest with you. 700 Shunter says the Hush Hush and the LNR P2 double heading would be amazing to see on a layout. That'd be very impressive. Bluegrass Rail fan says Steampunk, interesting direction for a model railway company. It really is. 700 Shunter. Some of the steampunk buildings he might integrate into his layout. That's one thing with this. There's a few different buildings coming in there, which could be useful for a variety of different functions, really. But they do have that steampunk aesthetic on there, so there's a lot of gears and a lot of clockwork. Yeah. They're really cool. Something totally different there. Alex Watkins, steampunk's not for him, but he hopes it's a big seller because it's something different. Ben Davis loves the steampunk passengers pack. Hopes to get them... the paint pack and one of the wagons too. That's another thing with the passengers as well, because you could potentially have something like a Comic-Con or some sort of geek convention there with the passengers. You know, there's a lot of different uses there. Jamie Smith says, Jack, what's the brochure you're holding? Can I get one? We've got the Hornby 2020 catalogue here, which will be in on Monday. We've got the Corgi 2020 catalogue there, which we'll come on to a little bit later, which will be due at some point as well. And then the one at the back is the Bassett Loke Steampunk World Guide. I don't know if that's something we'll be able to send out, but
we'll certainly source some of them, but for now you can view the whole information in this brochure as well on our website, so check out that link in the description if you want to read through these. And of course the full Hornby and Corgi listings are available on our website as well.
Brilliant. Ben Davis, just after that steampunk book as well. Richard Lewis says, will the APT have lights in the coaches?
It's something that we haven't been told is confirmed at the moment, but it certainly is expected. And again, as we touched on before, as the APT continues through its development, we'll be covering all the latest information here first. So as soon as we know, we'll add it to our listings and update you through Platform 1 and our social media channels as well.
Brilliant. And last one here before we go back onto the Hornby 2020 range, we've got Taze. He says his wallet's going to be empty. Azuma, APT, Class 50, Rocket, DRS coaches all pre-ordered, and he thinks he's been paying our wages for a while, so I think he might be there.
And that's a really good point to cover, is there is something for everyone in this range as well, not just new tooling items, which we've covered some of so far, but some great returns to the catalogue that we've not seen for a couple of years. And one of the highlights is the Pendolino coming back as well in the brand new Avanti West Coast livery.
This is a really exciting one to come through. It surprised me a little bit that this came in. And of course, as you say, it's that bang up to date Avanti livery, which I believe there's only 1 or 2 sets that have been painted into this so far. But eventually, the entire fleet's going to be in this livery. So Hornby's really getting ahead of the game with this one. And as you can see here, it's shaping up very nicely. We've just got some livery livery diagrams here at the moment. And of course, there was a very early, I think it was a hand-painted sample, that one, wasn't it? It was. On show initially there, but we should be able to get some more updates on this as time goes on.
And this shows the length and breadth of the Hornby catalogue at its best, with one of the first steam locomotives starting the range, with the Stephenson's rocket, but this livery on the Avanti Pendolino, at the time I was here today, it's only been on the actual Pendolino trains 1 month, so this is really the most bang up to date item in the catalogue.
Practically.
And it's coming through as the 4-car train pack as well, which many of you may have on your layout in the Virgin Trains livery. That comes with fully working lighting and digital capacity as well. The 4-car train pack starts at £225, but the extra coaches to make a full 9 or 11 car set come through at £40.50 each, and they're available to pre-order as well.
And they're bringing through all the different variations to produce a prototypical train there as well. And you've got the PTSRMB, the TS, MF, MS coaches as well there for you. So you can extend that out to exactly how you want it to be and get a proper prototypical train going on. Now that's due in December of this year as well, so it's another one that'll be coming through at some point in 2020, so it's great to have so many items to look forward to this year.
And all those vehicles are available to pre-order now, but again, if you need a little bit of guidance to make sure you're getting the perfect vehicles for your set, get in touch with our customer experience team and we'll help you out.
We're going to jump back to the past again now.
Okay.
Go back from the future.
A bit backwards and forwards today, but there's so much to look at. And this is Hornby's Terrier, which is coming through in 5 more variations. So there's quite a lot to look at here. And the first one we started at is actually one of Hornby's commemorative items, bringing through the 1990s packaging there as well. So having it replicating part of the Hornby range from yesteryear, but some real one-off liveries here as well. We have the LSWR green, which we may have a couple of fans watching the stream of today. We've got the Southern Railway olive green there as well with the Isle of Wight bunker. And then coming right through as well, we've got the British Railways Malachite Green. So this is a transition livery from the late 1940s with the Southern Railway Green, but with BR lettering. And we've got a second look at that box there as well, commemorating the 1990s models in the Hornby range. But Hornby's Terrier has been an immensely popular model since it was announced as part of last year's range, and there's been quite a few versions for you already, and to see 5 more coming through, and there's no signs of it stopping.
It really shows the commitment to the range there, doesn't it? But practically all of the variations we've had in have just sold out like that. Yes. So I wouldn't be too surprised if these ones do that as well, especially with some of those more unusual colour schemes coming through here, like the LSWR, so something great for you pre-grouping fans there. And of course, more of the improved engine green, which is always a very, very popular item. The beauty of these locos is the detail is incredible, yes. Really nice heavy chassis on there, full digital capability, and there's some accurate tooling variations in there as well, isn't there? Late last year they brought out the Isle of Wight bunker variations on the Terrier, and that is coming back through again, so there's a couple of different versions there with the slightly bigger bunker on the back.
And it covers the whole lifespan of these locomotives that go right back to 1872, so almost as far back as Stephenson's rocket there as well. And that's, as you said, the different variations for the original A1 build, but also the A1X rebuilds in the early Edwardian era as well. These locomotives are still really popular in preservation as well, in a variety of liveries and lines in the south of England. But this release really brings in a nice little twist as well, as one of the locomotives, which is Brighton, and it's available to pre-order now as well, did actually visit Paris in the early 1880s as part of an exhibition over there too. Not sure if it actually ran any trains in France or it was just a display item, but if you aren't a UK modeller but you really like this characterful UK tank engine, there is a place on it on a continental layout as well.
That's it. And what's more, these are coming in at just £85.50. So it really is a fantastic price for such a beautiful, highly detailed loco there. And these will be due in about September time, so not massively long to wait for that one either. So it's another great one coming through. Now we're going to jump back into the present again now, aren't we? We've got past, present and future items here from Hornby in the 2020 range. We're jumping around all over the place with these. But this is Hornby's Eurostar set, which has always been a really popular part of the range. But this one's got a bit of a weird twist, hasn't it? It's a totally unique livery. And this is from 1999, I believe, and it's the Beatles Yellow Submarine colour scheme.
Now, this was an advertising set launched at the same time of the remastering of the Beatles film and album Yellow Submarine. So it ran just coming into the millennium there as well as a full 16-car set with the iconic artwork from the film as well in that Beatles late 1960s cartoon style there as well. So in an era where full advertising on trains wasn't quite as big a thing as it is now, this really did set people's eyes sort of turning towards it, really.
Yeah.
And as you can see there, it's not only the 4-car pack, which is different on both sides, it is a 4-car add-on coach pack as well, but also it comes in a train set too. So you can get it in the set here for 135. If you don't want the train set, you can buy it as a 4-car train pack for £99, with the additional coaches there £73 as well, and that's due in July.
But who doesn't love that Beatles aesthetic, really? I mean, I am probably a bit, as someone from Liverpool, I'm going to love that, really, aren't I? But it's a fantastic collector's item for whether you're a fan of the Beatles, whether you're a fan of the Eurostar, or even just looking for something totally different to run on your layout. And for £99 for a 4-car train pack, it really is an impressive price that these are coming in at. It's going to have some expert livery application on there, obviously with such a complicated colour scheme there with all of the different cartoons. You've got digital capability in there, and you do have posable pantographs too. So it is a really lovely little set, especially if you're just getting started in the model railway hobby and you want to go for that train set. That's everything you need to get started. You get your full looper track, some extra track in there, buffer stops, controller. It's everything you want to get started. So it's great to see something a bit wacky coming through for the train set market there, really.
It is, and it shows also that, okay, it is a cartoon colour scheme at the end of the day, but it's completely authentic. It did spend up to a year running on the UK and continental rail network as well. So again, as we covered with the Terrier, great opportunity, even if you're not a UK modeller, to get that Beatles image and the Beatles sound as well onto a continental layout.
Absolutely. Do you want to go back to the past again?
Oh, I tell you what, I'll pick this one. We'll go for We'll go for the 9F, because this really is a welcome return to the range. Again, a part of Hornby's history right back into the 1970s, and commemorating it in the centenary range with the original model of Evening Star, as we see there, but it is on the latest railroad version of that model, but also 2 new versions in BR Black too. Some of you will be familiar with 92212. It's actually part of the 1-to-1 collection as well, and is currently running on the Mid-Hants Railway in Hampshire. So that's coming through as well, and number 92219 in BR Black as well. So a trio of these big heavy freight locomotives coming through in the 2020 range.
It's really brilliant to see more 9Fs coming through, because he wears such an important loco for BR, really. And the railroad model is fantastic for the price. Of course, those BR Black ones are coming through there for £99, and then you've got that retro Triang edition for £149.99. But you do get quite a lot for your money, really, with these. You've got a full, really nice 5-pole motor in there. You've got a heavy chassis, full digital capability, and you've even got some separately fitted detailing parts on there as well. And
with the Triang pack, you do get a commemorative plaque as well.
Oh wow!
Which commemorates Evening Star being the last steam locomotive built for British Railways in 1960. It's carried a plaque for the whole of its life, and it's in the National Railway Museum at the moment with that plaque, and you can get your own version of it as well with the pack, and of course that's available to pre-order right now. But also in Hornby's railroad range, they've brought through some Railroad Plus items this year, which are items that are featured in their range before, but the quality of delivery is pretty much up there with the latest releases. They're applying etched nameplates as well to really bridge the gap between their railroad range and their standard releases. We're seeing some Class 47s in there, as well as a Class 20 as well. And these Class 47s are the 3 GBRF locomotives that are on the network at the moment.
So these are bang up to date, these, aren't they? And as you said, they're GBRF owned. But you've got the Cali Sleeper version there. You've got GBRF's corporate colour scheme with the blue and orange. But then you've also got that BR Blue livery, which they outshopped midway through last year, I believe that was, wasn't it? So it's great to see some of these bang up to date 47s coming through, but for a bargain price there as well. These are available for £67.50, which is for a diesel of that size on your layout in what is going to be a quality livery bang up there with the rest of the range. It is great to see that as well. And we'll also take a quick look at that 20 as well. We've got the GBRF livery Class 20 here as well, on the Europort livery, which is coming through for £63 as well.
And both of these are great opportunities to get some classic 1950s and 60s diesel locomotives onto a modern layout, with all 4 of the locomotives you've just seen still in use on the UK railway network as well. But with these enhanced models, they are coming with nameplates where applicable as well. They've got full 8-pin digital capacity, NEM couplings, 5-pole motors, and all for that budget price of either £63 for the Class 20 or £67.50 for the 47s. It's a real great opportunity for modern image modelers to put a bargain locomotive into their collections.
You can't ask for more really at that price, and it is amazing to see just more liveries coming through, some different options there for you railroad guys out there as well, and they'll be coming through in September as as well. So it's even more to come through this year. So it's really exciting to see. Well, I think that's about it for what we can cover for the Hornby 2020 range in this video. But of course, we have got more videos on our YouTube channel taking a closer look at each of the individual projects. And we've been plowing through lots of different articles on our website so you can get full details on every single project that's been updated. You can also see a full article about the Hornby 2020 range with every single item to pre-order now as well. There just is so much in there. There really is something for everyone here, from the pioneering days of steam through to the experimental trains of the 1970s, right through to the modern day, with items that are practically futuristic, with the new livery for the Pendolino there as well. But I can see quite a few comments coming in here, so we'll take a quick look at a few of these, and then we'll jump into a few other topics that we've got down for today as well. We've got Kevin Newbury says, ordered the Pendolino 4-car set and can't wait. Chris J says, shame there isn't the white Virgin livery coming through as well. Might be something we see in the future at some point, because the Pendolino's come back.
Now it's back in the range. It's an opportunity for the future.
Absolutely. 700 Shunter says, going for the Dallas WR Terrier. You called that, didn't you? A few people go for that.
I thought so.
We've got Medway Peninsula Model Railway says, likes the new Terrier liveries. Jamie Smith likes the old boxes that are coming out. Now, there is quite a few of those, isn't there, as part of the Centenary Edition? And there's something for every decade of Hornby's existence, isn't there? There
is indeed, and it's all available to pre-order on our website now as well, whether you started your Hornby adventure in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s or onwards as well. There is a product in the packaging you'll be familiar with. You've seen some of the designs on the stream already, but do check out our website for full listings there of what is in the Centenary collection as well. And the numbers on those are strictly limited. Some of them we have already sold out on as well, so if any of those take your fancy, do get your orders in quick.
Perfect for a bit of nostalgia. We've got Tim Pout says, do you know if the APT sets will be available with the plain yellow front?
Now, we haven't had it fully confirmed at the moment as to whether the APTs will be made available with that. We know that they're coming through the black window surrounds, and we have asked Hornby the question there as to whether they'll be available without that, with the plain fronts that were carried by some of the units. Again, as soon as we know for certain on that one, we'll be making sure to let you know in the usual places. So keep an eye on us, and when we know, you will too.
Brilliant. We've got Gareth Waite, likes the British Railway Terrier, so he's got that on his pre-order list. Ian B, Eurostar goes under the sea, like the Submarine. Was that the idea? I think so.
Good point. It's a good point.
it marks it right itself, really, doesn't it? Bluegrass Railfan, 47 to the 50s are probably the favourite British diesels. Don't know the reason, but they are. Right, so a lot of different ideas there, and a lot of people get really excited about the range, so really great to see.
And I think, as you've seen, guys, there's something for everyone. If you're a 00 scale modeller from 1829 to 2020, there is something for you. And if you don't model a year within that period, I'm not quite sure what you model, really. So do let us know if you are outside that remit, as I'd be interested to see.
Well, you know, there's even stuff outside of this world now with Steampunk range as well, so there really is something for anyone out there. Of course, it's been a busy week of Hornby's 2020 announcements there, but there is some new releases on the horizon as well, which we just had to touch on in today's stream.
There is indeed. The first one we've got coming over the next few days actually, is Heljan's Class 03 shunter in O-gauge, and this is quite a hotly anticipated, fully new tooling model, and the first 4 of those are expected either later today or on Monday.
As you can see here, there's those 4 different variations, and these are all in a BR green colour scheme, but there's a few variations between them. You've got the full BR green with the green ends on it, and you've also got the yellow wasp stripes there, as you can see. There's a few tooling variations in there as well, as you will have been able to see from the pictures. There is the conical exhaust, as you can see in the bottom right, and then there's the flower pot style exhaust as well. So it's nice to see those different tooling variations come through there. And as you can expect from a Heljan locomotive in O-gauge, there's a lot packed into this. You've got a really heavy chassis in there, high levels of detail inside the cab and out, fully lit cab there as well. You've got full digital capability and much more, really. So it's shaping up to be a fantastic little loco, this.
And of course, these are one of BR's more standard shunters from the 1950s and 1960s, operated a lot across a lot of the country as well. Over 250 of them were built. Saw some real opportunities there to get them onto your layout. The design actually lasted until the 1980s in common service, and one of the locomotives remained in service until 2008 with First Capital Connect as well. But a lot of them went into industry too. Many of them are in preservation. I believe it's over 35 Class 03s are in preservation as well. So it's really hard to move without seeing one of these locomotives. And this really shows the transition era as well with that design. It's a lot of people say it looks quite like a steam engine with the chimney at the front and the cab at the back as well. It shows when a lot of the development was really carrying over from steam locomotives into diesel shunters and diesels too. And of course, these 4 green liveries are only just the start.
There's much more to come, isn't there? We're going to have industrial yellow coming through here, industrial dark blue, and also BR blue liveries as well. So there'll be a few different versions of those with different ends, and obviously those different tool and variations coming through there as well. So it is really great to see quite a variety of its lifespan coming through, and I'd expect there to be even more in the future because there has been quite a few weird and wacky liveries you've covered. As you said, operating right up until 2008 is quite a feat for something built in the 1950s and being diesel mechanical as well. But of course, as you say as well, that preservation scene is so huge for these because of their reliability and because of their ease of use, really. So it's great to see this one coming through an O gauge because it's really useful for a lot of different layouts.
And these complement a lot of shunting locomotives that are out there already, whether you're a steam modeller with Dapol's Ginty or 57XX, or you've bought one of the Class 08 shunters in BR Blue or a more modern livery. These really do go with those locomotives well. And the 4 BR Green locos that we just saw are due in on Monday, and they're $335.75 each to pre-order. And the other liveries coming through there as well will be with us in February.
Excellent. That's not the only release that's coming. Well, obviously the 03 is coming in next week, but we've got the Garratt in now as well from Heljan. So it's great to see the Bayer-Garratt come back into the range once again. As you can see on the table in front of us and on the screen right now, these are such a wacky locomotive, but they've got a place in a lot of people's hearts just for how different they are. Obviously, you've got that articulated design and the unusual bunker there as well.
And of course, this is a model that has quite a bit of Hattons history as well, as the model was originally developed by us in collaboration with Heljan, and these 10 new releases have been hotly anticipated for some time, announced around a year ago now, and we've featured them on the stream before, but they are available to order right now as well by clicking that link in the description. And these locomotives are quite uncommon on the UK network, really. The Garratt design was mainly used overseas, but this particular version was built by Bayer Peacock and the LMS in the late 1920s and ran between Towton in the East Midlands and London as well, transporting huge amounts of freight during that period right up until the 1950s.
And that was at a time where the LMS, it was mostly double-heading smaller steam locomotives to haul these huge coal trains, and they wanted to experiment with something that would have a much more pulling power in a single locomotive to tackle some of the big gradients around that area. And you could say this did the job, didn't it? It actually managed to do it quite well. But just owing to it being a non-standard design, something a bit more unusual, it didn't quite catch on. But it did still see a lot of use lasting right through into the BR days. And as you can see, we've got a trio of some of the liveries that will be coming through. And we've got the LMS black here, so one of the earlier ones. We've also got BR black, so heading straight up to the end of its life there. And of course, that's a weathered one there as well. So there's a few different options for you. But then we've got this really unusual photographic grey colour scheme, which whenever this is on a loco, people go absolutely wild for it, don't they? Because it's just totally different to see a white steam loco.
And it is something that's seen in a lot of books, but not on a lot of layouts, because the photographic grey was painted such to enable photographic technology at the time to get a really good image of the locomotive, whether for company marketing or for builder marketing or something along those lines. So a locomotive will be painted into this colour scheme, photographed, and then painted back into a traditional livery, although some locomotives did see service in photographic grey as well on quite a rare occasion there. But again, for a locomotive that is either black or black in its running life, to get quite a distinctive light grey locomotive is something really different in an LMS collection. Never mind the actual shape of the locomotive, to make it even more unusual by painting it light grey as well. But the model covers the 2 major tooling variations of the Garratt as well. You have the standard coal bunker there as well, but also the revolving coal bunker that a lot of you will be more familiar with during the LMS and BR days too. So whether you're a fan of the class or you're just really looking for an unusual freight locomotive for your services, the Garratt's the place to look.
It really is. It's a beautiful model as well. You can see from the ones in front of us and from the pictures too, you've got a lot of detail here. There's a lot of pipe work on the underframe, which is quite unusual. A lot of handrails and separately fitted parts on here. You've obviously got that articulation, so it's going to perform very well on your layout. It's really heavy as well, so it's going to be able to haul quite a lot, as you can expect from something this size. And you've got full cab interior there, you've got NEM couplings, you've got digital capacity as well, and these do feature an updated chassis and motor from the first batch too, so they'll be quite quality performers.
And a really unusual feature, quite a rare one to find on a UK 00 steam locomotive, is the working headlight there as well, which is on both ends, and it does light in the direction of travel, so just a nice little bonus feature there, which really shows the thought that's gone into it.
It is something more, as you say, it's more unusual to see that as well, because obviously quite a lot of people do like to add working lamps later onto a locomotive, but to have it there from the start is really unusual. And Heljan have been quite realistic with the lighting on that as well, because it's giving quite a somber glow, really, isn't it, from the lamp technology of that era. Right, we've got a couple of comments here. We've got 700 Shunter says he wants the LMS Garratt in photographic grey. Gareth Waite says it looks weird but amazing, that grey colour. Bluegrass Rail fan says, bet the prototype didn't stay grey for too long. Definitely not. And Jamie Smith says that grey does look very eye-catching. So a lot of love for that grey there, which I thought there would be with this.
And all 10 of these are available to order right now as well. They start at £212, which for the equivalent of 2 locomotives is a real bargain price. And
Absolutely.
The weathered locos as well come in at £221. So click that link in the description if you want to find out more and order your Garratt.
That's it. It wasn't all just Hornby this week for the big announcements for the 2020 range. We've also got Corgi with a really jam-packed catalogue. Thank you for swapping those around, Dave. And there's so much to see in this one. There's a huge range of new vehicles coming through, a lot of civilian cars, buses, aircraft, military vehicles, and much more. But one thing that is a really huge part of the catalogue this year is the licensed vehicles, such as TV, film, music, and other brands as well that are coming through. And we've got a few that we can show you here. So as you can see, there's a lot coming through from a lot of favourite properties like Paddington. You could have seen Back to the Future there. There's Dad's Army coming through. The Beatles once again, so that could run with your Eurostar train set if you want to pick up one of those. You've got James Bond, the Snowman, Top Gun, all sorts really, and we're going to go through a few of those right now.
This is one of the strongest Corgi releases for many, many years, and there really is something that many people can identify with, not only in the more traditional releases such as the Vanguard and the original Omnibus as well, where there's a lot of popular modern vehicles coming through, but to see these celebrity vehicles as well, and some of the real icons out there as well from a lot of popular TV shows and films, really again boosts the imagination that you can bring through. And again, harking back to that tradition of the hobby there, you've got the original DB5 from James Bond too, but again looking at some of the classic vehicles, you've got Doc Brown with the DeLorean there as well. So some great opportunities whether you want some real quality models coming through from the Vanguard range. The Aviation Archive's got a lot of new aircraft coming through too, but also looking at ranges such as World of Tanks and Dad's Army there as well.
There's a lot here to take on, and if you're a fan of any of these TV, film, or brands, there's something really perfect for you to take home. But some of these are really bang up to date. You've got in the top left corner there, you've got the James Bond Vantage there, which is part of the next James Bond film, which isn't even out yet. So that's I can't remember the name of that one, unfortunately. No Time to Die, that's the one. But, you know, so they've got vehicles coming through for that. There's just so much here to take advantage of, so it's really exciting. As you touched on there, there's World of Tanks too, which is a first time seeing this property. It's a video game there on PC and consoles coming through, and I believe it's its 5th year, that game. So nice little way to mark that with this new diecast range coming through. But there's a few other different celebrations in there for different years of properties coming through. And of course, as you saw with that special James Bond DB5, that, as you said, that's harking back to the early days of Corgi as well. So it's nice to see some of this retro packaging coming through in the Corgi range too.
And the great thing about the Corgi range is there's a lot of different scales replicated there as well. Whether you're a 00 gauge railway modeller, an O gauge railway modeller, 1/50th scale, 1/35th, 1/64th, 1/36, we could carry on for a while saying the different scales that are involved there. And with over 200 new releases in the catalogue this year as well, there's some great opportunities to come through there. And as with the Hornby range, we've got every single model from the Corgi catalogue available to pre-order now on our website. We've got the catalogue coming through on Monday as well, which you can pre-order too now if you want a physical copy in front of you, which as always is fully detailed with full details of the range there, just showing you a couple of the pages as you can see. So there's some real opportunities there to help populate your layout, or if you're into a certain TV show or a collection, there really is an item for you. So take a look at that link in the description and there's a lot more details there.
That's it. Whether you want something for your layout or you just want to collect something, or if you're a fan of one of those properties there really is going to be something for you in there. And there's a lot of new toolings here as well. So a lot of these are brand new, fresh items coming through. So it is a really exciting time for you diecast collectors. We've got a few comments here. We've got a 700 shunter. Is Mr. Bean a miniature that is part of the mini model there? I believe that will be, with him riding on top of it, which is that classic scene. And it's great to see that one coming through. We've got Ian B says the DeLorean is petrol punk, I think.
It's a good point, actually. Flux capacitor punk, maybe.
And then we've got Bluegrass Rail fan says, buy it and does Rowan Atkinson show up at your house? I hope so. That'd be funny.
Yeah. I don't know if he'd want to be shipped out in the parcels we send out though, but we can work on that one.
Don't think we could squeeze them into an A box really, but yeah. Right, okay, so one big thing from the start of the year was the British Model Railway Awards have been unveiled for 2020, and the voting is open now. We are very lucky to be nominated for a huge range of categories in this year's awards, and we would really appreciate all of your guys' support if you think we are worthy of your vote. Absolutely. To head over now and vote for us in the different categories. Now, we are up for Retailer's Customer Service Award. We're up for 00 Diesel and Electric Loco of the Year with our Class 66 released just towards the end of the year, and more coming through in 2020 as well. We are up for 00 Wagon of the Year with our RHTT or our FEA wagons. We are also up for 00 Manufacturer of the Year generally. We are up for O-Gauge Loco of the Year with our Class A3 launched at the end of 2019. We are up for O-Gauge Manufacturer of the Year generally, and we're also up for Overall Manufacturer of the Year as well. So this covers the 2019 period of models, obviously with all of those models coming through, and the voting closes on the 26th of January, so do get your votes in quickly while time is still there.
And we genuinely do appreciate every vote we get as well, so thank you very much in advance. As mentioned, it does close on the 26th of January, so click that link in the description and there's more information on how to vote there, and thank you in advance.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much for all your support in 2019 as well, and going into 2020. As you can see, it's already shaping up to be an incredible year for Model Railways here. There's so much coming through, not just from Hornby, Corgi, ourselves, but from a huge range of manufacturers. So there's going to be plenty for us to cover on Platform 1, so do stay subscribed and check us out every Friday for the show, but also on our website and social media as well, because there'll be so many things to watch out for. Now, apologies for the bit of technical difficulties at the start, but we'll just go on for a little bit longer now so we can get a few of your questions in for our Q&A round. So are you limbing up?
I'm ready.
Are you back in the game for this now?
I'm back in the game now, we are ready.
Right, let's head over to the chat and see what we've got. We've got Taze asks, when are the sound-fitted Class 66s coming out from us?
Now, all the latest information on our Class 66 release dates is on our website. There's different dates depending on which model you're after between January and February, so check out the link in the description, and the full information on the Class 66s, dependent on what livery you want, will be available there. And as soon as we get more definitive information there as well, that will be updated and everyone will be notified.
Brilliant. We've got Dave Henshaw says, any more news on the Oxford Rail N7 in BR Early Crest with sound?
Yes, now we are expecting that one at the start of February, alongside the LNER version with sound as well, and then one a little bit later in the year, which is the previously featured BR version with the depot embellishments as well, with the white Stratford markings there too. So the two sound versions February, the next BR version a little bit later in the year.
Brilliant. AD Pullen says plans on running our Genesis coaches with the Hush Hush loco, so we'd love to see that once they're both out. Caitlin Lee Luan says, when is the Coca-Cola tank wagon that was announced last year coming out? I believe that's out now, isn't it?
We've had some stock and we are expecting more stock next week. So place your pre-order now, and as soon as we get them in about a week's time, we'll be shipping them out to you.
I think that was one that came in and it went straight out the door again, wasn't
really
it? So we are waiting for more stock on those. Paul Harrison says, any news about Hornby redoing the recent Bowfell Class 60 with the incorrect logo on it?
Now, we have had some advice from Hornby that they're best to get in touch with directly to arrange a replacement body shell for that one. So if you do require that body shell, do get in touch with Hornby directly. But if you need any information on how to do that, get in touch with ourselves and we can help you out there as well.
Brilliant. We've got Southway 1943 says, what is the formation of the 4-car HST Great Western Railway set now in around the Devon and Cornwall area? I believe they're 5-car sets, aren't they, those?
Some are 4, some are 5, I believe. Right, okay. They're being referred to as the castle sets at the moment, and they are slightly different formations depending on which particular set it is. We do sell the coaches, and they are coming through for those as well with the Mark III sliding door vehicles in about March or April time. So if there's a specific set you want to model, do get in touch and we can help you out with that one. But I believe it is the 2 power cars, and then a first class vehicle, trailer standard with a disabled toilet, and then 2 trailer standards as well. But get in touch with a specific set you want to model and we'll help you out for certain.
Brilliant. We've got Graham MCK says, had to pre-order the 390 after seeing a YouTube video Dave put out yesterday. Looks great, as he missed out on the last run of the Virgin ones. Richard Lewis says, we've had that one already, I apologise. And the Croft says, do the 2019 Princess Royals have firebox flicker? And is it synced up to the TTS sound chip for coal shoveling?
They do indeed. They do all have the firebox flicker. The locomotives announced as part of the 2020 range and last year's 2019 range will all have that feature. Not quite sure if it's set up to work with the TTS decoder. We'll probably only know that once they actually come into stock, but we will check that when they come in and update accordingly. But we do expect it to work on the digital lighting functions as well.
We've got Rich Harvey says, any updates on our Genesis coaches? All of the latest updates for Genesis are on our website right now. You can see all the latest artwork on those. We should be expecting some more updates on it within the next few months as well, because work has been ongoing in the past few months as well. Eric French says, hi guys, if I received a DC version of your new 66 as a present, are the sound files from Lego Man Biffo going to be available separately? And is it just a standard Locksound V5 decoder I need?
That is something we'll be confirming in the future as to the availability of the sound to add on to your Class 66. So keep an eye on our website. If you've ordered a DC version and want to switch over, we would, however, recommend ordering the locomotives with digital sound already pre-fitted, as the decoders are specifically set up for each locomotive. So if you're going for the sound, we do recommend you switch your order over. But if you are ordering the standard analog version or want to upgrade, keep an eye on our website as we'll have more details shortly.
We've got Clive Cobold says, when is the Heljan Class 86/0 coming out?
Now the 86-0 we're expecting in the summertime in those various BR Blue liveries of the 1960s and 1970s. The 86-4 and the 86-6 in double O gauge will follow on from that in those more modern colour schemes as well. The latest we saw though was that hand-painted sample we showed on our video at the start of this year as well, which you can go back onto our channel and have a watch if you want to see what's coming through in 2020. But as soon as we get more information, we see the proper decorated samples and the production samples as well. We'll feature them here on Platform 1 and on our social media and website as well.
Looking forward to seeing those later in the year. We've got Kelly Ashford says, I'm in the process of buying Hogwarts Castle alongside 3 other engines, so surely enjoy those when they come when you've got those. Eric French says, we've had that one already, I apologise. Gerald Green also asks, how soon will the Hobby APTs be available to order?
We have been told that they're expected to be released in December this year, but they are available to pre-order right now. If you click that link on the description, you can place your pre-order. And of course, by placing your pre-order, you will sign up for all the updates on that project as well. So as soon as we see it go through the development cycles, the first engineering prototype, the decorated samples, we'll tell you the whole story of its development as well. So place your pre-order or register your interest, and all the news on that Hornby APT will be ringing straight to your email.
We've got one more here before we end as well, and it's from Marius Musig, and he asks, when is Hornby's Railroad HST coming out as well?
Now the HST we've had into stock in BR Blue and Grey livery. That is currently available to pre-order right now as Hornby code R3608. If you check out our website, I believe there's another couple of versions coming this year as well, and the specific dates for those will be on the item listings on our website, and you can pre-order those now.
Brilliant. Well, unfortunately, guys, that means it is the end of the show now, coming up to about 2:10 here. We thank you very much for joining us in our first proper live show of the year. Thank you for all your fantastic questions down there. Thank you to everyone who's already voted for us in the BMRA Awards as well, and thank you to anyone who does so in the future too. As you can see, we're only a couple of weeks into 2020 and there's already tons and tons of stuff to talk about, so there will be plenty more to come in the year as well. So don't forget to join us every week on Platform 1, and do subscribe to the channel for more videos as well.
And check out the channel because, as Jack mentioned before, we're putting up a lot of videos at the moment showing a lot of the highlights of the Hornby 2020 range. If today's episode's whetted your appetite, there's a lot more to see and a lot more to review. So take a look at the YouTube channel once we've finished here today or later in the week, as we've a lot of videos going up there. We'll be bringing you all the latest news in the coming week as well, and we'll be back here next Friday, the 17th of January at 1 PM.
That's it. We'll see you there, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See you soon.
See you guys.